lost mine in the sand. Where will you stand?
And once again, we play Where in the World is Hanok Young? And of course, I know even though the background is blurred, I know
Blurred.
where you're at.
Yeah. But as I keep saying for the last few weeks, ever since I landed in the Islamic Republic of New York, it doesn't really matter where I am, you know.
Yeah, I know that. Hey, we got a lot to talk about, but first of all, we got an announcement, and that is that the Connect to Israel tour is registration open. Yeah, with a little help of a friend in Columbia, South Carolina, who made a phone call in the middle of the night to Israel. We got the final confirmation on the hotels, and everything is good. People can go on Connect Israel, and the process is this. Click on register now. That's going to take you to a page that describes what's included, what's not included. Remember in that tips are included. Now that's like a $200 value is tips. So that's all included in the price. From there, it takes you to another page, and is my email, gives you some basic instructions on that of what to send me. And please note in your email, when you send an email, please note that it says you need to put a statement in the email that you read and agree to the terms and conditions that are there, and there's a link to that page. So send that, and hopefully within
Right.
24 hours, you'll get an email immediately. But with me having to go over to Columbia tomorrow and pick up Hanok, maybe a day or two before we get it all together. But as soon as the person sends in the registration, they're locked in. Unless there's some issues that we come up with our interview. Okay. So with that, Hanok, hey, good morning.
Good morning. The news,
Yeah.
even at the pace that I study it, I don't read the news, I study it. When I'm talking about the news, and people say, well, I don't trust our media. I'm not talking about the news reporting in the United States of
Yeah.
America. I'm
Sure.
not. So within days, President Trump is going to be going to be inaugurating this Board of Peace. And I was explaining to people over the 3 states that I've been to so far that very often I hear music tracks in my head. And this is like, I just keep hearing, I'm on the highway to heck. We don't want
Okay.
to heck. I really, and the other thing, someone said, you're starting to look a lot like Macaulay Culkin, and Home Alone, Um, shocking. Turkey, Qatar, Pakistan. Um, and the other song that, when I'm in a good mood about it, before he began announcing the lineup, the cast of characters, is I kept remembering that old soul song from the 70s, Peace Train, I'm on the boat, the Peace Train. It's just, it's shocking. And then
It
someone
may
from,
be, Hanok, that those two songs are actually being married together into one. Okay.
it's, one is
Yeah,
leading to the other. That's where
yeah,
the Peace Train is going.
yeah.
Um, so there is a tendency among many people that I've spoken to believe that even though the news appears to be negative towards Israel, even if it appears to be naive on the part of the Trump administration, that don't worry, Donald Trump is playing three-dimensional chess.
Yeah.
And I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I would love to
Well,
be proven wrong.
okay, that's fine, Hanok, if you're playing a three-dimensional, on a computer, or you have some kind of
Yeah.
three-dimensional thing and you've got plastic or wooden pieces. We're talking about people's lives. And that
Yeah,
is something that, you and I have talked about this so many times.
yeah.
People that study prophecy a lot forget about the fact that these are real lives that people are going through. These are real events. This is not just some board game. It's not like when I used to play Risk. This
Remember
is
risk.
real people we're dealing
Yeah.
with.
It's a term that I used a number of years ago and actually have reincorporated into the current presentation is we Jews are not prophetic pawns that, oh, so, this slaughter and this
Yeah.
disaster will happen, which will lead to whatever.
Hmm.
Anyway, so there's one element. The Netanyahu government uh, was shocked by this. Now, of course, Bibi is promising that there won't be Qatari or Turkish soldiers in Gaza. I wouldn't stake my life that there won't be.
Yeah.
And even if there won't be, if Turkey is on this board, if Turkey is part of the oversight of the technocrats that will be running Gaza, um, I mean, the goals of this war, from Israel's perspective, have not been met.
No.
Hamas is still not disarmed. Hezbollah continues to threaten. And then we switch to Iran. Iran, which has gone from bad to worse. And it is shocking to me how no one really is willing to do anything to support the Iranian people.
Yeah. Where's the
Now,
protest? Where
a
are these
regime,
people in America?
a regime change in Iran changes the world globally in a second.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't understand the threats, and I don't understand the statements of like, well, we're very pleased that they're not going to hang the demonstrators. Well, they're busy shooting them in the head, so they don't have to hang them. So there's that piece. But if we're talking about bizarre news, and I couldn't believe this when I saw this, the United States government is considering offering asylum to British Jews because of the level and danger of anti-Semitism in the United Kingdom. These statements following up say it's terribly dangerous for them, but they're just the kind of immigrants that the United States would welcome. English speaking, highly educated professionals.
Yeah, these are people that are probably not going to come over and make false or fake daycares. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
However, as an Israeli, all I'm thinking about is this isn't 1939 when the United States did not provide
Yeah.
a safe haven for any European Jews. What about Israel? British Jews don't need to go to America. What about Israel? And people are asking me, and I don't want to get into too much detail about it, but people are asking me, so, when the subject of the Islamic Republic of New York comes up, and oh, I do have to say one thing. I don't think we mentioned this last time. The New York's Attorney General, a woman by the name of Letitia James, has banned effectively the organization Beitar
Hmm.
from operating in New York State.
Yeah.
Now, Beitar was the heart of my activist,
Yeah.
involvement. The first several arrests that I was subjected to were with Beitar. When we did the sit-in in Moscow, it was with Beitar. Anyway, so here it is. You have groups roaming New York, jihadis, attacking Jews, threatening Jews, calling for the genocide of Jews.
Yeah.
But 5 or 6 or 7 Jewish guys. I mean, it's not the youth movement that it was when I was involved. They're banned. It really, and the very first day of Mamdani's administration, they repealed the definition of what is anti-Semitism. And that's so, in other words, here's a guy who talks about the need for affordable housing in New York and child care, all those things. Maybe they should hire the Somalis from Minnesota to do child care. You don't know. That's his priorities. And again, I remind people that New York is America's largest city.
Hmm.
Just because you live in another state, sometimes far away from New York, doesn't mean that this ripple effect won't get to you.
Yeah. So true. So true. Hey, back to the thing about this peace council. I did see an article this morning that Trump has threatened Macron of France
Yeah.
that if he does not come on board of this peace council, whatever, that he's going to slap some kind of tariffs on French wine. You know, I'm not much of a politician, um, but is that just a level of insanity? It's like, if you don't come over and play in my sandbox, I'm going to come over there and slap you or something. It's just so ridiculous. And who wants France? I mean, I guess that'd be better than Turkey, but yeah,
Well,
I don't
okay.
know.
This is where a bully mentality. First of all, there's a bully mentality on the part of the Trump administration, always threatening, and it's just astounding to me that everything is a financial transaction.
True.
Pardon me. The best way to understand Donald Trump, in my opinion, and again, I remind people when I speak about Trump, I'm speaking strictly as an Israeli.
Yeah.
I'm only vis-a-vis Israel. I watch what he does elsewhere in the world, and the only thing that I can remember from childhood that would relate to it is the TV show Let's Make a Deal. Everything has a financial thing. Here's, I'm counting off $100 bills.
Yeah.
You can have this or you can have this. Now, the difference with Trump is there's no door number 2 or 3. It's or the might of the United States of America is going to come crashing down on your head.
And this is with Greenland, and I know that's,
Oh, this is, first of all, I said to someone the other night, I said, I guess Mike and I are going to have to postpone our plan to add an addition on to the Connect to Israel experience, where instead of flying right back to America, y'all could go to Greenland and then I just, is there a method to the madness? I don't know, but I do want to point out that much of the disappointing focus that's coming down on our heads in Israel is coming vis-a-vis Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff.
who, let's remind everyone, have deep ties to Qatar.
Yeah, it's all, another song. Wow, I think this was from the movie Cabaret. Money makes the world go around, the world go around. I,
I
I,
feel so
I
left out of the world when I don't have all these songs in my head
well, this someone
with
said to me,
movies and
someone said to me, for a guy that's constantly hearing music and lyrics, why were you never a musician? You should have been like a front man of a band. And I said, you know, I was really close to it. The problem was, okay, I still can't sing.
yeah,
I don't know how to play a musical instrument. The the party lifestyle of rock stars, my mom wouldn't let me stay up that late. So I had to go to bed after Howdy Doody on TV. Really. I was
Okay.
17 years old at the time. It was shocking.
And let's talk a little bit about a subject that happened, something that happened in Israel, and that is this child care, this daycare.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
see that in the protests that someone was run over, youth, the what is it, two children died. Could you fill in some
Okay.
blanks here?
The Haredi, the ultra-Orthodox community, let me hedge this, tends to do things their own way.
Hmm.
And it's not just a religious thing. So there was a daycare center in Jerusalem, unlicensed, unregistered, just something. Well, whether there was a gas leak or whether these two children, and it's shocking, died of dehydration, of being kept in an area with a very hot heater heating the room. Again, I remind people we don't have central heating
Yeah.
in Israel. So this is it's shocking. And then, of course, the demand on the part of that community not to autopsy the children. There is a thing within Yahudut, within Judaism, regarding autopsy, but in cases where it is a necessity, it's done. They're demanding not. And then, of course, the accusations that somehow, God forbid, the government of Israel was involved in this is like, I mean, not even duct tape on my head would keep it from exploding. So everything is weird and bizarre. I am not overly sympathetic it is not every Haredi person, but those who were so vehemently anti-Israel, I really wish they could have been born in another country so we could deport them.
It just doesn't, for people who you would say, well, they talk about the law or the Torah.
No,
This
they
is
don't.
like the most lawless
No, they
people,
don't.
huh?
No, they don't.
Well,
Yeah. No, no.
the
I'm agreeing
perception,
with you.
yeah. I was going to let you throw that in because it would look better if you did it than me, okay?
Yes,
And I figure you would. So the
for sure.
perception is that these are a people that are all about the Torah, when in fact they're some of the most lawless people I've ever met as
Yeah.
a whole. Okay,
The
that's kind of a generality, I know.
the a few just a few weeks ago, a teenage boy was run over. These demonstrators from the Haredi community, and again, I don't want to say the Haredi community. It's not the entire Haredi
Yeah,
community, but those who were rioting in the streets and attacked a bus, and
yeah.
the driver ran over, a 14-year-old boy. I mean, this is a horrific tragedy, but at a time when the state of Israel is planning, because of the necessity that we have, to go in and disarm Hamas,
Yeah.
which will take about 4 to 5 divisions of reservists being called up again and again and again. We are short. There are 22,000 plus severely wounded from this war. That has nothing to do with the horrific PTSD. Okay? These are
Yeah.
loss of sight, limbs, horrible, horrible what has happened. And they will not stand with the rest of the country?
So I guess this begs the question, Hanok, and maybe it doesn't have an answer, but the Haredi are this is the Shas party is behind some of a lot of this.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I finally, after 20 something years, almost 30 years now, I'm getting my politics of Israel down a little
But
bit.
but also the Aguda, the so-called Ashkenazi, they're actually more of the leaders in the
So
neighborhood.
there's numerous groups there
Yeah,
that are representing these people. This
yeah.
is a people that do not fight for the military in the military for the nation of Israel. They don't pay taxes. They are basically a welfare system in Israel. They do not have that I've seen, and again, correct me, but that I've seen, they really don't give much of anything to Israel. But at the same time, they have this crippling hold on the government that nobody dares come against them.
Well, okay. First of all, I want to keep stressing we're talking about segments
Yeah, yeah,
of the Haredi community.
yeah,
Neither of us are saying every person, and we have two units of Haredi soldiers in the IDF. Um, although their rate of enlistment is we do better with the Bedouin.
yeah.
Um, we even have Christian Arabs who volunteer for the IDF. So a handful of Haredi men is not
Yeah.
the changer. It is a very deep problem. Netanyahu's government is propped up by them, and that's why we still haven't changed the draft law. I mean, it was a year ago, people coming over to me saying, "Yeah, here the Haredi community is going to be drafted." Ain't happening, guys.
Yeah. So if Bibi lost the influence of these parties, Shas and others,
Yeah,
his government would pretty well topple.
it would fall numerically. I
Yeah,
mean, in a
and
parliamentary
quickly.
democracy, you have your kind of vote of no confidence. If you have more than 61, if you have 61 seats, you bring down the government.
Yeah,
So you have all the opposition parties and the Haredi parties. Yeah, there's no Netanyahu government. As it is,
I'm
we're
not sure
scheduled.
which side of the pond here has the most trouble. You know, I think
It's
it's kind of
it's
like people are competing on both sides for the crazy.
well, it's I so seeing the American news from Israeli eyes and
Yeah,
having spent most of my life as an American, I look at what's happening in Minnesota, both on the one hand, the rioting against ICE, and I'm one of those people noticing when I'm seeing footage, I don't see any local police, not one. They're obviously being held back by the city, state, county, whatever it is. The fact that is it now tens of billions of dollars of fraud?
I don't know that anybody will ever find out how much.
All of this swirling around, and people keep saying, well, Trump's Board of Peace, because here's an interesting thing. In its statement, it never mentions Gaza. So people were speculating, well, maybe this Board of Peace is going to take over the role of the United Nations. Maybe Trump, maybe like truth, justice, in the American way, the Superman motto. That's all well and good. Am I the only one that realizes that after 2028, there's going to be someone else sitting in that seat? Am I the only one?
Yeah, and the likelihood, and again, we don't get much, we try not to get much into American politics unless it
Yeah,
does affect Israel.
yeah,
And what I see are some possibilities that would be detrimental.
yeah. It's not looking good. One thing I want to touch upon. The other day, Netanyahu announced that Israel is going to be phasing out most of America's aid in a 10-year period of time because it's called an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding. Like, every 10 years, some agreement is inked between the American government, the Israeli government, of how much aid would come uh, in the future. And the sort of the quid pro quo is all the things that Israel does on behalf of America. Okay, Israel should have phased out American aid decades ago.
True.
This is something that Rav Kahana taught us back in the 70s. We have got to cut the umbilical cord. Now, America quashed our fighter jet program decades ago. We were creating, this is a fourth generation fighter called the Lavi. It was crushed because of, American business interests.
Hmm.
Just understand something. The American aid given to Israel militarily is a credit to purchase American weapon systems. So this is an indirect subsidy of the U.S. weapons industry.
Yeah.
Aircraft manufacturers. It's always been that way. So that's a good thing. Doesn't mean we won't use American fighter planes anymore. Obviously we will. But we need to stand as our own sovereign nation and not have someone in some presidential administration tell us what we need to do and need not to do. So we held off of wiping out Hamas, and now we're in a situation where they're unofficially going to be involved in this interim temporary
Yeah.
government. And again, everyone's talking about interim and temporary. And I am one of those people who keep saying, and what's going to be at the end of that?
Yeah.
Um,
You know,
so
we when we're together in Israel on tours, we talk about the Byzantine era and the Roman era and all this, and then there's the American era. Uh, none of those eras really went well for Israel.
no,
And your statement you just made, I think, was very gently profound that Israel must stand on its own. And in fact,
yeah.
I think I can find some scriptures in Deuteronomy that speak about that. But how you're going to get there, that's yet to be seen.
It's interesting. Whenever I don't look at our news for an hour and a half or 2 hours, let's say, I'm in a car or I'm presenting, or like the other day on Shabbat, after my presentation, people hung around and we spoke for over 2 hours. Okay, it was Shabbat. I wasn't looking at my news anyway, but it's, and that's a perfect example. My last Shabbat in Israel before leaving, I turn on my phone Saturday night, and the U.S. now controls Venezuela.
Yeah.
Um, the issue of Greenland intrigues me because you've got European countries that are sending some troops. Not, it's a symbolic thing,
Oh, yeah.
and you know, people point to uh, Alaska having been bought. Um, I think that was in 1867. I was in elementary school then, so I don't really remember it. But Greenland wasn't bought then. Okay? So you can't simply say, well, we bought the other place, Alaska. You know, now we have this coupon.
Yeah.
We have this coupon. It's like a two plus, 2 for 1. Um, I don't know. Is the U.S. actually now? I do believe that it is important for American security
Yeah.
to make sure the Russians are not there or the Chinese or
Exactly.
God only knows whoever else. I I
Yeah.
I can see that. Again, as an outsider, I can see that for American security. But in the modern world, it doesn't seem to be playing well, saying we can either pay you or we don't have to do it peacefully. Your choice.
And there are quotes from many presidents who have said that this is be a good idea. And yeah, the rare earth minerals, all of these different things. And by the way, I think you said 1867 for Alaska, that you were in high school. I don't think you said
Okay.
19. So this proves that you are much older than me.
Well, people have been saying that, well, I forget it. Let's keep going.
All right. Well, hey, the good news is that tomorrow is Taco Wednesday.
I don't know. I don't even keep track of this stuff.
Yeah. See,
In any case,
there's
don't
Taco
worry about it.
Tuesday.
It's fine.
There's
The
Taco Tuesday, but we're going to delay Taco Tuesday to Taco Wednesday,
Fair enough.
at least for me, because I'll be picking you up tomorrow in
Right.
Greenville at our favorite Mexican restaurant
Anyway,
there.
right. So it's interesting. As we were just talking before we got on the air, the the weather or the potential weather is always, it's always a question mark.
Yeah.
It's always a challenge. Um, this has been a very interesting tour. The people I've been able to share with, the people I've been able to spend time with, the relationships, the nurture is has been wonderful. Um, a lot of scheduling issues. And people, what's great is when I'm at somewhere and someone's already bringing up the next time.
Yeah.
Um, typically I come in the summer and the winter. Um, but now I have the possibility potentially of a couple of tours in the summer. So this isn't grandstanding, but I don't know when the next time I'm coming back is, to be totally honest with y'all.
Well,
You
if
know,
anybody's in the Franklin, North Carolina area, we're unsure of the weather right now. What we are sure of is that is I'm having tacos tomorrow. At least we're thinking that, Bezrat Hashem. And but from that point on, Hanok is scheduled to be here with us in Franklin
yeah,
on Shabbat, and then scheduled to be in Hayesville at Moss Memorial Baptist on Sunday night.
don't know.
It's up in the air. So if somebody's planning on driving in, they might want to keep in touch with me as late as probably Friday. We should be able to make that decision. So,
Great,
all
great.
right.
See y'all soon.
See you tomorrow.
Take care, guys.
All right. Later.